Good morning, guys. We are here for another morning. We are Thursday morning here, and I think by now you know the routine for everybody. Everybody's getting their potty break. I am just finished taking care of the kennels, changing all the water buckets, cleaning all the water buckets, disinfecting all the water buckets. And then I did some yard work that needed to be done. I had a break in the fence in the back pasture, probably by wildlife, maybe coyotes. It looked for something bigger, but that needed to be mended. There was a big hole. Something dug into the pasture and then bended the fence pretty severely. So before I took the dogs out, I fixed that. So that means that I'm a little bit later today. Actually a lot later. Had also a very late night. I went to bed way past midnight. And then was up around 4:30, 5. Did some emails, was too tired to do the dogs, and then did the work. So it's about 7 o'clock right now. The dogs are very flexible, although many dogs have a routine, especially if you do the same thing every day. Dogs are really routined, which can work against you because dogs will get impatient and start whining or barking when the time to get up is there. That is why I also randomize the order of the dogs when I start my routine. That is not every day the same. It changes at night, it changes in the morning, and that is to prevent anticipation. As you've seen in the Tyrant to Teacher video, dogs can anticipate, and then, you know, if every morning the door goes open and the first thing you do is let the dogs out, eventually the door opening is the cue to be let out, and if the dog is not getting out, then he can display, you know, very unwanted behavior. So everybody got their potty break here. So we're gonna put them in the kennel. Hier, kom! My good friend Darla here. Oh, Benny still needed to go. And today is gonna be a much colder day. We were very blessed with the spring weather. In the last week and a half, it was dry and sunny with an average of about 70-75 degrees, which was amazing. And today is a transition day. Temperatures dropping back into the 60s, and then in the weekend a rainstorm and temperatures dropping back into the 40s. Benny, hier kom! There is my friend. This is Darla, Boona, and here's Darla. And like I mentioned before, I always reinforce going into the kennel. Benny loves the spring grass, it's so sweet. A lot of people think their dogs have you know, belly issues. That is also a reason why dog eats grass. But when they eat grass in the months April and May, it's very often, I'm gonna run here for the sprinkler. It's very often that they like the sugar into the new growth. They absolutely love that. So I'm gonna get Carl out, and then after that we're gonna take Ruppert out, and I will see you then. And good morning again. We have Mr. Ruppert here. He is ready to go to the bathroom. And then in today's training block, very similar work as I did yesterday. I'm going to continue doing this for, I would say, the next 2 or 3 training blocks. I think we need to be careful not to overdo it. During his potty break, this is basically the only time that I let him run loose. Other than that, he has controlled walks still on the leash. I do want foot to heal really good. So I'm taking some extra precautionary measures, if that's a good English word. Hier kap! And he hears the sprinklers. And like I said, one of the new behaviors that I've seen in him is exploring after being injured. So during the injury, he didn't work for about 10 days, and he did some engagement work lightly inside, hand feeding, just for coming to me inside. But as soon as I brought him outside, he explored a lot more. So that is new. Previously, before the injury, he would stay with me all the time, and now it's like that's the one thing he regressed. I think he enjoys being outdoors and freely again. I think he is going to poop over there. So I'm gonna let that be for a little bit. I think it will solve the problem just by keep working at him. And he understands if he doesn't check in with me, he doesn't eat, he doesn't get fed. So while he's pooping, I'm gonna set up my camera and I will see you in the session. Good morning, group. Here with Ruppert, ready for another training block. Again, yesterday I got phone calls and the video recorded for 5 seconds and then the Apple stopped, so you saw my rant. This morning I'm gonna try the same thing. I'm gonna go into the training block, continue working on focus. Like I mentioned before, I received some messages in response to the Ruppert series, why this process is taking so long and why wouldn't I slap a pinch collar or e-collar on the dog to punish him for not looking at me. So, well, in my approach and my philosophy, aversives within the teaching or the training should never be used. This is how I do it, and it's a very long and tedious process. Hence, before my dogs are fully trained, it takes up to a year to 2, sometimes 3 years, depending on the job they need to do. But when people see my end product and they see my personal dogs work on the field, they all want the same dog. They say, oh my God, your dog's so happy and it's always engaged. And then, when it comes to personal protection, I have one of the hardest biting dogs and the most toughest dogs in the world. So for those people, training is not a microwave process. It's a very tedious process that, when you compare it to food, requires sourcing the right ingredients, being very tedious in your food prep, and being very tedious in your meal preparation. and then only then you can get a very exquisite meal. So the same with my dogs here. I like to train each behavior step by step. I always talk about my sheet, my wall of paper, micro behavior sheet by sheet, and every little decision that the dog makes in a positive manner, I'm going to reinforce. So that is why I did the Ruppert series, so you can literally see what the product was and what it is after, you know, a year to a year and a half of training. So without further ado, let's go into the session. As you can see, guys, this is an amazing exercise to start socialization and teach the dog that when they engage with you and they're not, you know, all over the place and barking and lunging and doing crazy stuff at other dogs, they deserve their food, their lunch, their breakfast, their dinner. So the other thing that we're doing is we're socializing Rogue here. He's a little bit sensitive to dogs. And for me, it's a good opportunity to, you know, bring Ruppert into the program and teach him that calm behavior around dogs eventually leads to food, and being neutral to dogs leads to food, and being neutral is being engaged with me. So I want to thank Jeff and Ken for you know, supporting with their dogs here. They're 2 seasoned dogs, as you can see. They're very, very good, and Darla is too. But for Ruppert and Rogue, these are amazing opportunities to, you know, reinforce that engagement with the handler. Calm, assertive behavior eventually leads to all the things they are motivated in. So I hope you find this session interesting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.